Is everybody having a good week, a weekend? Is quarantine hampering your style? Here's the thing, just do what you would normally do at home, except instead of going to work, just do what you can from work from home. That's really, you can still go outside. You can still get in your car and go for drives. You just can't stop anywhere. Um, you know, go for walks, and kids and your dogs will love the at home time. My mom is retired and I'm disabled, so it didn't really affect us that much except for going and getting groceries. My mom is in mature years; she's over 70, and I'm disabled, but I have had heart failure in the past, and I should not be exposed to anything like that because my heart is still weak. I just have a pacemaker that gives it the impulse of when to beat, and so that's how it knows to beat on a regular basis because it was too weak. Um, I want to share a little bit about myself today, I think. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Go Buckeyes. And I'm the oldest child. I have one sister who is 10 years younger than me, so I actually help take care of her a lot. Um, and let's see, started moving around when I was 15, and we ended up down here in North Carolina, where we've been for 20 years. Evaded me. But as far as my health goes, I had anxiety from an early age. I never realized how much anxiety I actually had until, once again, I was grown up. So I grew up with anxiety and depression, and at one time I was even misdiagnosed being bipolar, and I am not bipolar. Um, because I'm a very excitable person, and I can get very, very loud and boisterous and really have a good time when the fun's going. It's a party that never ends with me. I mean, I love it. And when it's the mundane and down and routine and humdrum, that's exactly what I do, is I go all the way down to the negative. So I'm either an all or none type of person. And if you look at all the different areas of my life, that's what you see. As far as my emotions go, as far as being a friend with someone, being expecting so much from other people, because I am an all or nothing person and I do the all from my end. I will be your best friend, your most loyal friend, if you never betray me. But if you betray me, I'll forgive a couple of times, but then that's pretty much it. I have one friend, testament to this, that I have known since second grade. And she and I never really hung in the same circles except in the summertime. We would play on the same softball league. And she still lives up in Ohio, of course. And as an adult, I really didn't get to spend a lot of time with her. However, I was in her wedding and she was in mine. She was my maid of honor. I was her matron of honor. So we have this deep love for each other. I'm actually more in touch with her husband because he's the more social one of the two of them. But I wouldn't give anything for her. The value that she holds in my heart is priceless. So that's the kind of all that I could give you an example of. And, the nun, I think we all know what nun would be. It's none. And so it was very easy for them to think that I was bipolar. I was not. So going forward, I ended up being on the wrong medicine for bipolar for 2 years. I was on lithium for 2 years. Hurt my thyroid. I overdosed 3 times. Now let me stop right here with the overdose. When I was younger, I was struck through the phone by lightning. It didn't really hurt me. It just threw the phone away from my face across the room. And that happened also as an adult. So it's happened twice. Not the phone thing. The phone thing was once. The lightning thing was twice. I was in my house and there was a tree that was blew up from a lightning bolt in our front yard. And I was the only one that was home. And oh man, that was scary. I almost drowned when I was little. I've been in 3 car wrecks where the cars were totaled. Let's see. One of them I was hit by a drunk driver. I just had, all these times up until, I was an adult. And when I was about, let's see, and then so we thought I had bipolar. I was on all that medicine. It hurt my thyroid. We had to have it chemically, put out of business. And so I take a thyroid pill. And then, with all of that trauma to my body, I was moving furniture one day while painting the living room, and I hurt my back. And they say that this can happen with a trauma from the body. Well, I ended up getting fibromyalgia. So I had fibromyalgia, constant chronic back pain. Fibro doesn't kill you, but the symptoms for it, and it just wrecks your whole body, and they step and get worse every year. So I got anxiety, I've got back problems, and I got fibromyalgia. Then I discovered that I had inherited my grandmother's knees. I needed 2 knee replacements. One urgently, which, well, it wasn't urgent. I mean, as urgent as a knee replacement could be. So my dad passed away, and then later on that year in 2015, I had knee replacement. Then the following year and 3 months later, in September of 16, I had my second knee replaced. 6 weeks into the recovery of that, I tripped going out the doorway. Landed on my recovering knee, my leg, and when I landed on that, my leg couldn't support me, so it tore my quad, and then I fell. So that was a big deal, because a quad tear in the middle of the muscle has to have 12 weeks recovery time. The first month, you're in a locking brace, and your leg can't bend. Your leg has to stay exactly the way, in the same angle, because if your leg bends at all, that muscle, it just rips right apart again. So, and then the next 2 months of it were gradually increasing the bend. So I get out of that brace in January of 17, end up finding out I had a blood clot in my lung. Got on medicine from that, was real quick, felt great for one day, I could breathe again. Then all of a sudden I got sick again. Back to the doctor, did an x-ray, my heart was enlarged, went down and had a an echo, and they saw that I had cardiomyopathy. My heart was just beating at a 20, and it's supposed to beat at 50, ejection fraction, EF fraction. Meaning that the danger point is 35. I could have went into cardiac arrest at any moment. So sent me down to the hospital right away, put in the hospital, stayed the night. The next day had a heart cath, and then the doctor comes to tell me that I have a weak heart. And we're like, okay, blown out of the water here. And but I had no blockages. I had nothing wrong with my heart except that it was weak. So then they came to ask me. I was back in the room and everything. Doctor comes and he's like, okay, so what was the event that happened like a couple weeks ago? Okay, so they wanted to know what happened, what kind of fall I had, or something traumatic that happened in my life that would have brought on this heart failure. And nothing. There was nothing. They did put me on Lasix that first night, and I lost 13 pounds overnight of just being bloated and holding water. So we couldn't tell them anything. We didn't have any clue what would have done. And I told them the 3 months before about tearing my quad, and they were like, "No, it wasn't that." Well, it was something. So I didn't respond to medicine. I even went through cardiac rehab the following summer, which was summer of 17, and that didn't help. So then they had to give me a pacemaker, and they put a pacemaker in right here, and it's a pacemaker internal defibrillator. So if I were to go into cardiac arrest now, it would shock me back. I was wearing a life vest for that whole time that had sensors around around underneath my breasts, and every time if I went into cardiac arrest, it would have this huge alarm would go off. And sometimes the alarm would go off also if it didn't have a sensor, if it wasn't stuck to the skin good. And so it would always happen in the night. My mom would wake up. I remember saying to the doctor, I sleep very hard, I'm not going to hear that. He said, "Oh yeah, trust me, you'll hear it." I didn't hear it. My mom was in shaking me, going, wake up, you got to turn off your alarm because she wasn't allowed to. So, anyway, all of that. And then we moved into a new house. And all throughout that, somebody else in my family was going through a lot of medical problems, and somebody else in my family retired. My mom retired, and she was helping me and another person. And then uh, in spring of um, spring of 18, we moved into our new house. Because one day I was just like, we should just all get a house and live in it together. And they were all up for it. My mom was like, yeah, we could do that. We could be able to find something. So we did. Moved in here in April of 18. The house is sold. Like, one sold overnight, and one sold after like a week. So it was buyer's market or seller's market. I don't know, whichever. Um, but my heart started getting stronger and stronger. And by January of 19, it was back up to pretty much normal. Let's see. And then I was walking around last summer. My knee started hurting me, the first knee, the one I had knee surgery on the first time. Come to find out, I had a quad tear kind of in that. And actually, the kneecap had broken. The front of the the fake knee had cracked, and part of it broke off, and it was floating around like in behind my knee. And the doctor, my orthopedic, he went in there and he told me after the surgery, he's like, that never happened to me before. I had to get in there and go fishing around for every last piece because he couldn't leave it in there. So anyway, so I had that surgery, but I recovered like pretty much after 3 days, or okay, a week. And the physical therapists that were coming to the house, they're like, okay, you're going to recover from this just like a regular knee replacement. I'm like, oh, great. I've had 2 of those already. And I didn't. It just, the muscle that the doctor had to move from the bone to go in there and fix it, he put that back, and all that had to do was heal a little bit. I was good. I, the physical therapists were impressed. I didn't even have to go to outpatient therapy. I didn't even have to do that. So that was last fall. And now I am still going, good to go. Fibromyalgia gives me a lot of fits. Anxiety through all this has really stepped up. Oh, yeah. And last fall, my primary doctor said he diagnosed me with PTSD because of everything that has happened to me. I ended up having PTSD because before I got totally better, my mom had a heart attack. And then a year ago in April, my mom broke her foot, and it was the bone that is very hard to repair, to heal. And it took about 6 months for her to be walking around in a boot and off of her feet and whatever. And now she's fine. She has to wear the same kind of shoes every day so that she has really good ankle support and all that, because it's easy to re-break this bone. So my mom is doing all that, and I was so upset that she broke her foot, and that it just kind of compounded everything that was on me because she was my caretaker. So I kind of like freaked out, and the doctor said I had PTSD. Otherwise, I wouldn't have freaked out, with my mom hurting herself. So anyway, that happened, but now I'm getting better. We finally got our stuff out of storage. My room is slowly but surely being put together, but I started this YouTube channel. This is something I wanted to do from years ago, but I, as you heard, just had one thing after another happen. If you go to my blog, which is chronicinspiration.net, and the address is down below in the description, I have started putting posts up. I only have one right up that I put up I only have one up there now that I put up last night, and it's got the first 3 vlogs in it, the first 3 videos from my channels. But and you can go back and watch those, or you can go over to the blog and watch them from there. But I will be posting things as well as additional types of content, printables, video series, let's see, inspirational graphics, different things like that. So that's me. That's my story in a nutshell. If anybody has any questions or comments about this, you want to know anything about my story or anything that I went over too fast and you're curious about, please, please ask me. Please ask me. I am an open book. I do not mind sharing anything. Never really have anyway. But I am the reason I started this is to inspire people that are in a depression, that are having panic attacks and can't leave the house, that feels like no one is listening. But we are listening. We are here. You're never alone. You're not ever alone. If you're watching this and you feel like there's nobody you can call, just type in, send me a message, send me an email. My email address is below. I need to talk to somebody, because I have different resources that I can certainly forward you to. I can talk to you if it's something I know that I can help you with. Um, it's just nobody's ever really alone, and I want you to really hear that you're not alone, especially in today's society with cell phones and texting and email and direct messaging and face-to-face video and typing on message boards. You can be anonymous. You can all the stuff. You're not really ever alone, and I am here with you. I say hug a pillow a lot, and I believe that is twofold. It's soft, plus you're holding something and you are hugging something. A person actually receives things in their brain, special chemicals that I don't know if it's endorphins or not, but when you hug a pillow, it's a very comforting thing. It's like hugging a person, and that we're physical people. We need to physically express ourselves. That's how we are biologically made. So anyway, just keep watching my channel. Keep watching. Let me hopefully entertain you, educate you, inspire you, because that's my main purpose here with Chronic Inspiration. And, join our free Facebook group. The link is below. And, come over there and join us. We only got about 100 people so far in there, but I am really, no, that's not right. We have 100 people that like my page. You can like the page, facebook.com/chronic INSP. Chronic.INSP is what it is. But you can search for Chronic Inspiration. And, the Chronic Inspiration Chronicles is the free Facebook group. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all of my handles are below, as well as my blog address. So, okay, so lastly here, I was just saying everything's below. Ask away. However, if you like this video, in the meantime, give me a thumbs up. That really helps. I'm trying to get this organization off the ground, or organization, club, group. Trying to get this group off the ground, Chronic Inspiration, and it really helps. The likes help. Subscribe, click the bell so you're notified, and don't be a stranger. I'm not a stranger. So have a good day and the rest of your weekend.